Thank you for reminding me. Who was that? Thank you very much.
Uh, MACD.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I thought I was recording this. Okay, so um, basically, this course is designed to teach you about marketing and sales. You're going to be, first of all, the first part of the course starts with marketing and digital marketing. A lot of it's social media and digital marketing, because you're going to learn a lot about all types of marketing. The second part of the course is on sales and experiential marketing. And then we get in a lot of time into doing your big assignment. This course also, as I mentioned to you, all the course readings are outlined on the Blackboard site, which is located here. You can see here the PowerPoint slides are located here in the menu. Each week you have a module that you must complete. The critical path is here, the course outline. You can get it started. And all your course readings are also, as I mentioned earlier, are located in the course reading section. The discussion board's down here. You'll see you have some discussions this week due. And I look forward to you guys starting to make these posts. They're all graded. They're worth their percentages assigned to it. And you'll see it adds up pretty quickly when you start doing these discussions and everything else. So this is what I was talking about earlier. So thank you for reminding me. And now I'm just gonna, if there's not any other questions, I'm just gonna continue on. I have to, unfortunately, I have to leave by 12:30 today. I have a doctor's appointment. But so marketing is kind of my passion. So it used to be pretty simple. You know, basically you had a customer or a consumer. The hotel or restaurant or brand did some mass media. You may have gone to a store, talked to someone, you may have talked to your family and friends, and then you went and you made a purchase in store. Is it like that anymore, guys? I can't hear you. Anyone?
No, sir.
No, it's not, is it? It's much more like this, isn't it?
When is that
Yeah.
discussion thing due?
By next class.
Okay,
You'll
thanks.
do it, yeah. All the due dates are posted. You'll see them. Okay. In addition, this is kind of your digital world out there. You have different channels that marketers use to try and market to you. We're going to be talking a lot about these different channels and how they work together. As you know, you probably yourself have Googled something, and then the next day or the same day, you got an ad on your Instagram feed, probably, right? So it's a really interesting world, and we're going to learn how to do that. And what's really important is that a lot of shopping behavior has changed since COVID. Most of you probably bought something on Amazon, I'm sure, and then it's really an important time in changing and shifting how people are buying products and services. It's really put Canada Post back in business, that's for sure. So guys, what would 3 seconds stand for? You saw that on the screen. What's that stand for? Anybody?
Attention span.
It's an attention span where?
The consumer, you have 3 seconds to relay a message. After that, you lose the customer's attention and they just start to wander off.
Yeah, that's very good. Who's speaking?
Oh, it's me, sir, Naveed.
Hi, Naveed. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, so it's basically, that's all the time you have to capture and engage somebody in the digital world. You have 3 seconds. If you don't, you lose them. It goes by real fast. That's why there's a lot of ways and tricks that you use, like video or on Instagram. A lot of will use boomerang to really make an effect. Special offers or engaging content that really touch the heartstrings of consumers. Just really important in the digital world. And so the digital universe is made up of many channels, and you guys have grown up with the internet. So basically, it's part of your life. You've been interconnected with the digital world since you've been little. Older people, they don't necessarily have that luxury. It's kind of like second nature to you. You've grown up with Google. the cloud. Brands are also growing up with digital, and they're using it more often. And we love it. It's the way. It's kind of how we live today, and it's changed dramatically from when I actually even started this course. Um, Things have evolved tremendously, and yeah, I have to keep up, as every marketer has to keep up with the technology, and it's important. We're going to learn about that in this course. So the digital world used to be, it's really interesting. Um, there are a lot of different ways that you can connect to the digital world and to your customers. A lot of different tactical methods, everything from programmatic social buying to, different third-party uh, transition data to AdWords, to display ads, to social media marketing, to CRM. But the important part of this is all works together, and marketers, they collect data, and that data is on you as a consumer and how you use the internet. That data actually adds up, and then we end up clustering that data into behaviors. Behaviors, how you use the internet, and what you're interested in, all your likes, all your personal dislikes. Those are looked at very carefully. And then we put people into groups as a marketer, segments, clusters of individuals that all look the same, have the same attitudes, behaviors, desires, love interests, and hate interests. And the reality is, we end up doing that, and we end up calling them names. This is like Jenny. She's a young executive. We try to devise marketing messages that will inspire her, marketing messages and images and content that will get her to act online. For example, Jenny's a young executive. She likes hiking. She's very active outdoors. She flies to New York City twice a year before COVID. And it was really easy to understand Jenny, that we knew that if we could convert her by giving her upsell offers, and we knew that, so we would design it in a phased approach with her, and then we would find a way to connect to Jenny through the different channels that she is on, and we would align our targeting data, the data we got about her, with a campaign, so we could serve content to her on various channels. We would anticipate her behavior, not only the purchase behavior, but we would do this through weather, any current events, or any financial conditions that are out there that are influencing the products and services, as well as the consumer themselves. We try to find a balance between the unbiased, the data exploration that we're doing on all this, and data exploitation, really. What that means is we try to make sure that we are continuously delivering value by watching what our consumers want and need. So this big data approach is really a fresh model, and it's there to deliver better content so that you see ads as consumers that you want to see, opposed to seeing content that you don't want to see. You probably all got an ad, right, that you didn't want to see, and that's because someone ended up not, applying data management or analyzing the data properly to serve the proper messaging and ads to you as an individual. Marketers also are constantly optimizing their media channels and determining which media to use as an integral part of a conversion process. This funnel starts with an awareness, and it goes to interest, desire, and action, and then there we have someone convert. And what this allows us to make a more efficient decision on media purchases and optimizing the best channels and media purchases. Overall, this is a lot of how marketers work today. So I'm going to start to introduce to you something called the 4 strategic digital marketing pillars. These pillars will be on your next test. They'll be on your major assignment. You got to use them all the time. It's what I use in strategy when I design strategic digital plans for companies. And these 4 pillars include the strategic digital marketing pillars: access, engage, advocate, and convert. And so what we need to know is we need to, first of all, understand how many people, from an access perspective, we can reach through which channels. Who is out there in the digital landscape, and when and how do we access them, and in what channels do we access them with our marketing efforts? From an engaged perspective, how can I strengthen my brand through engagement and new and existing customers with engaging content that inspires, content that creates an emotional punch, emotional reaction from our customer. Basically, we want to understand all those ticks and those loves and hate interests so that we can get some action from our consumers through really engaging content. And in today's world, it's content that's mostly driven through video content or smaller clips. From there, we move to the 3rd pillar, which is advocate. From an advocate perspective, we want to get our brand fans, those are advocates, to love us. And we want to get them to help us and amplify the positive buzz around the brand. It's not just about having active participation. It's about getting our advocates to share the content that we as marketers are putting online. We want to get our advocates to really advocate on our clients or our brand's perspective. Because, as you know, you probably will buy something if your friend recommends it. So when friends see someone else recommending something, there's more opportunity for others to believe it and potentially buy the product or service. So advocacy is a really critical tool today. Another part of advocacy is user-generated content, where brands get their consumers, their advocates, to create content on their behalf. And they just do it because they love the brand. So that's an important distinction. In addition, the final one is conversion. When we talk about conversion, we're talking about getting people to make that purchase. They either make that purchase online or through the store or through a social platform. And we want to move people along these 4 pillars and using different methods to engage and get others to do that. So these 4 pillars will be on your first test. They'll be on your first quiz. And you need to know them and understand them going forward. So to kind of put this back on you now, we're going to talk about the different types of people that use the internet. And I was part of a company prior to going out on my own called TNS Research. It's now called Kantar TNS. And we did a study, a global study, and I ran this study on the internet and how people use the internet. And we sold this information to marketers so that they could market to key segments based on the channels that they are using. And so you need to ask the right kind of questions around how do you access the internet, which segments do you belong to, how do you use the internet. It's pretty obvious that all online users are not the same. And digital is not digital for me as it is for you, because you may do different things, and there's many different digital lenses out there. So how do I manage this fragmented digital world? Well, I have to be really clear on my customer base and know what kind of segments they are in to be able to target my customers with marketing messages and materials that are going to really have an effect where they're living and access them where they're living online. You know, the other thing that I want to do right now is I want to kind of explain this to you. And we're going to do a little exercise. And I'm going to put you out into breakout rooms. I'm going to have discussions about this. And before I do that, I want to talk about this phrase, it's a digital wasteland out there. So when I launched this study back in 2011, and it still goes on today, I coined the phrase, it's a digital wasteland out there, where marketers rush online to push unwanted content to their consumers. Content actually today needs to be focused, more focused, and follow not follow the same path as traditional marketing methods. So, you know, the path has to be a consumer-centric path focused on your behavior as a consumer and understand the behaviors on how people use the internet and their devices. And this is really what I meant by it's a digital wasteland. People are just blasting the airways with traditional ways of marketing, and it's not working. So what we want to do is be more efficient and more effective with our approach, and we do that with these segments, which I'm going to talk about shortly. So let me start off by playing this video. I'll explain a little bit more about how this works, and then I'm going to go through an exercise where you're going to listen to me really carefully, you know, about when I describe the segments, and then you're going to determine yourself what segment you think you belong to based on your behavior online. And then I'm going to put you into groups through breakout sessions, and you're going to have a discussion about that. That's where I'm going to leave you because, as I mentioned, I have to get going to a doctor's appointment. But you're going to come back next week after that discussion and report back what you talked about, what you learned from watching and listening to one another. And then I look forward to having you, as we start our class next week, present back. Your group's going to present back what you talked about in those breakout sessions today. So let's just start off by looking at this video.
If you want to build up a picture of how the world lives online, you need to ask the right question.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
You can see the video? Thank you. Okay, I'll start it again. I just want to make sure.
If you want to build up a picture of how the world lives online, you need to ask the right questions in the right way, combining people's pasts, how much time they spend here or there, what they buy and how often, with their futures, their quirks and tics, aspirations, needs and desires. Because it's only once you find out what makes one digital consumer tick and the other talk, that you are able to segment the world's online population into 6 distinct groups of people. 6 digital lifestyles that represent all the different ways in which people interact with the internet. And why? You see, some people use the internet to maintain relationships. Some simply to get things done. Others to make better decisions, preferring search engines and email as the fastest route to new knowledge. Then there are those who couldn't spend a night away from their beloved internet, the bloggers, networkers, shoppers, and stand out from the crowders. Those who won't let you get a word in edgeways, whether that's on a phone, messenger, social network, or simply face-to-face. And not forgetting all the people who, although new to the web, are more than ready to jump in with both feet or hands. After all, what really is the internet, other than the people who use it?
Okay, so that's an introduction to those segments. Now I'm going to review with you in detail these segments. First of all, you can see that they're made up based on your consumption of the internet. So there's no involvement with the internet. So let's get started. I want you to listen carefully and determine what group you think you belong into. Afterwards, I'm going to put you into groups, and then I'll be breaking off from there, and you guys will be reporting next week back online here about these different segments and how you felt you fitted into these segments as a group and which segments you think you belong to. Okay, and then you can continue that by having discussion how you might market to your different groups. So let's get started. You ready to go? Okay, so this is an influencer. An influencer is someone who is really involved with the internet. They use all types of mediums. They do browsing. They have a large social following, and on social media they influence others. They actually write things and have people follow them, and they have opinions on brands and different things. They're probably a gamer who heavy email, do dating online through love apps, dating apps, All their banking and administration. They're not afraid to do any of that. They do mobile acting. They're streaming everything from a multimedia perspective, which most people do anyway today. They do shopping online. They're not afraid to do that, which is really unique for Canada, by the way. Canada was not heavy into online shopping till 4 years ago. Prior to that, we were just researchers. That's shifted dramatically, and then even more during COVID. But this is an influencer, heavy usage, can't live without the internet. Let's move on to the next one then. That's an influencer. The next group of people are communicators. These are people that are also socially active outside of the internet, and they're socially active on the internet. They love to share their pictures of themselves and what they're doing all the time. They're big on selfies with themselves and friends. They're doing stories all the time. They may look for love interest on the internet too, seeking knowledge through Google, getting their news there, streaming multimedia, and maybe gaming or not. They're not bloggers. The influencers may be bloggers. The difference between a communicator and an influencer is that communicators, they don't say a point of view that often, but influencers do. They really, the influencers, which were this group, usually have a point of view, and people are interested in what they're saying. So you have influencers, you have communicators. The third group are knowledge seekers. Knowledge seekers are not heavy social media users. They may have an account, but they just watch, and they're not on there that often. They may just have a Facebook account or a Twitter account. They're not on Instagram or Snapchat or anything like that. So really, this group of people are professionals. They try to get work done using the internet. They're kind of annoyed by social media. They use emails, search engines, they do browsing, they research stuff to make their lives easier, in both work and at play, okay, outside of work. The fourth group, after knowledge seekers, are networkers. So networkers are young professionals trying to get jobs who need to build a big network. They have the largest social media following. They are heavy on email and social media. They find their information out about certain things. And that's really that signifies them. They're trying to grow their career using social media and emails as a whole. The fifth group, similar to networkers, high on email and social media, but they're not in Canada. There's probably no aspirers in Canada. These are people in like Egypt, North Africa, different parts of the world where there's a lack of internet and high-speed access. They don't have the means, meaning they're economically disadvantaged. They don't have laptops. They don't have desktops. They're not connected to the internet that way, but they are connected through mobile devices, and they are using those mobile devices to get to and make relationships. And they actually have had a big effect on the news by capturing stuff like in North Africa a number of years back when there was a huge, in Egypt, uprising through mobile devices and capturing what really was going on there and all the riots that helped topple the government, actually. So aspirers are not frequently available here in Canada, and that's important to understand that. The final group are functionalists, and functionalists are individuals that really mostly just use email. They also are the highest growing group segment on Facebook. These are seniors. This is like my mom. Okay, my mom doesn't really use the internet much. She emails and she tries to use social media to follow us and to follow and connect with old friends and other things. So that's really the segments. The segments, again, are associated around the world in different places. In Canada, North America, the top segments are networkers and functionalists. South America, the top segments are knowledge seekers. And you can see around the world, in some places, influencers are prevalent. It just depends where you are in the world. So these are the 6 segments. You want to take a snapshot of those segments or go back to the slides in class. I'm going to divide you all now into groups, into breakout sessions. I'm going to allow you to go on there as long as you want. But you are required next class to come back. I'm going to take a snapshot of these groups and to report out what you talked about, which was you're going to talk about basically you want to think about the segments and discuss with your assigned group what you think your segment is, so who you are, you think it from what I described, and then how you would market differently to each group, each member of your group, okay? Because obviously, if you're on different channels, you would mark differently. It's pretty obvious. Okay, so I'm going to get this going for you. 1 minute, please. Just going to check the chat area. Okay. All right, so someone asked, what's the last group called? It's a functionalist. Thank you, Gerline. So the groups are influencers, communicators, knowledge seekers, networkers, aspirers, and functionalists. Okay. All right, so let me get you started in your groups. Again, I'll see you again next week. You have modules to do, you have readings to do, you have some discussion posts to do to get points this week. So make sure you go online, you access the Blackboard site. You can see the critical path there.
Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, so are you just assigning the groups now?
I am, yes. I'm going to do that right now.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just talking, and then I'm going to do that. So please hold. Here we go. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. So, oh, no, I don't have to do that. Okay. So you might want to take a picture of this so you know what you're supposed to do. Okay. 1 minute. All right, so I'm going to put you into groups right now, and I look forward to seeing you next week. If you have any questions, please give me an email, okay? Thanks, everybody. Nice to meet you all. I'm going to put this on right now. 1 second. Breakout rooms. Here we go.